It's time once again for the Real People Multi-Game Solitaire Mega Tournament. I figured out a way to use the whiteboard for this game, mainly as an aid for you, the viewer. So here I have our different players. They are in tier order, so you can see the tiers here. It says their race if you want to look at it. Then I made this progress line, or whatever you call that, column, progress column. So you can see where people are at. So we have the two people with favors, and people who have got one of the three things that you need to win the game get a little magnet there, so it pops out more. And then we have Red Tomato and Tice, who have started their recipes. So as people move towards what they need in order to defeat to get one of these magnets, I will be putting that in the progress column. Then we have how many pieces of equipment. Now, it's numerical, not all equipment is equal. I can't even put like money worth of equipment because the Underworld equipment you don't buy, you just find it. So, but I can say Half Pint is probably doing the best with equipment. She's quite nicely outfitted. Though Scoot's spell could make the game for her. I think how well she does depends on how long that lightning spell keeps in effect. I think that's her biggest resource right now. Weeder's got a couple things. And then we have how many cubes they have. These are experience cubes. In Weeder's case, I put a little kind of weird asterisk next to her number because they're shadow cubes. And shadow cubes have a limited use, as we talked about extensively last video. But right now, it's kind of surprising. Fries, well, not super surprising, but kinda. Fries has the most cubes out of anyone. Again, not all cubes are equal. It depends, they gotta be in the right place for you to use them. But Fries definitely stats-wise is looking pretty good. That archery competition really bumped him up. Alright, so let's get to playing. Okay, and here we are back at our board. It is currently Half Pint's turn. She already rolled to see where she could go in her teleport. She got a 2 and a 5. That would either take her back where she was from, or take her to this garbage dump. She's going to go to the garbage dump. If she rolls a 1, she gets to find a special item that someone threw away. And unfortunately, she's a 5, so that's her turn. Going back to Curly now. Remember, we have this situation over in the castle area. He is very close to our gnomon friend, and we'll see if he wants to attack him. Well, why is that? I have to look at that. Oh. So that 6 meant that Curly just ended the storm. That is big. That is very big. So now he has the choice of going after Red Tomato or Tice. He would have been able to get Red Tomato anyway, but I think he's going to run right past Red Tomato and take a whack at Tice. We'll do a duel. So a duel works by just one die roll of 2 dice. It's the dueling rules are from Helden in der Unterwelt, and one thing Helden in der Unterwelt did was it made it so experience cubes weren't as useful as they are in Return of the Heroes and Under the Shadow of the Dragon. It really played up the raising of stats instead of the becoming more experienced. So in order to kind of balance that out, whenever someone has an extra die for the duel, that's going to add 1 to their number. Okay, so right now we're looking at Curly. Curly has a 6, but he has 1 extra die normally, so he has a 7. And Tice has 7, but she has 1 extra die, so that's an 8. Tice actually has the advantage in this duel. It's still going to be decided by 1 die roll, though. We have to look at the difference in their advantage. So the aggressor, that's Curly. He's got a 7 minus the skill level of the defender. 7 minus 8 is -1. So it's going to be a modifier of -1 to his relevant stat. So he's got to get a 6 or lower to beat her. Even though the chances are he's going to lose, it was worth the chance because if he beats her, she loses a bunch of cubes. And there's a 3. I wonder what's underneath the paper. See, there's a 3. And then a 4. Oh, she squeaked out of it. So she's okay. She gets to decide something to take from him. She can either take a life point, an item, or a shadow cube. He doesn't have any items or shadow cubes, so she's going to be taking a life point from Curly. Alright, our middle class 4 have all had their turns. Here's where they ended up. Fries is moving across. There's Scoots is moving. Red Tomato is stuck, is in this heart of the labyrinth. He's gonna need to find his way out. And Tice made it home. So she's going to, unless something stops her, she's going to be able to miss her next turn and get her health back. Only other interesting thing happened was these dragon teeth were put into play. They're part of they're the end of a formula to get the U staff, and so that's something.
Tile by tile, Weeder is making her way to Mooney, who fortunately just found the way out of the Underworld. However, there's an obstacle in his path. He has to get past this Arachne here, and then once he has defeated Arachne, he has to bring Arachne to Tartarus before he can leave. But the gateway to the Underworld is open to everyone now, so anyone can go to the Cerebus marker and pay Cerebus a coin and go into the Underworld, and vice versa, they can leave. So we have to see if Mooney can beat Arachne first. Luckily, 7 or better. And no, failed to beat Arachne. So he's going to get a Shadow Cube. And he's going to put it right on, I guess. He doesn't like shadow cubes at all. I think he gets to place one of these negative markers. This is interesting. Where is he going to put it? I think he'll put it right there. So Halfpint just had an interesting turn. She was in the dump here. She rolled. She had a choice of either going to the 4 space or the 6 space based on the teleporter. If she went to the 4 space, she would have all these things to pick up, possibly. She decided to go to the 6 space instead, however, skipped over the quest. She didn't pick it up so she could keep moving with her new winged boots, recall. She can move rather quickly now, heading towards the south. You gotta believe she's going after Scoots. She sees Scoots nearing the unicorn down here, the first part of the anti-dragon quest for Scoots, and she does not want that to happen. So it's going to be a race. Halfpint starts further back, but she's faster than Scoots is now due to her winged boots. Curly entering the labyrinth after Red Tomato. He has 1 more movement left. He got a 6, so that's going to put him, I think, yeah, right down here. We'll see what this is. Find the Book of Curses. Bring it to the temple. Okay. Fry's just picked up one of these guys, and I'll let you in as to what it is. It's this golem. Now, there's a couple things he could do with this. There's basically when you draw one of these with a back, you have some choices. You can either place them near someone else so that it's an obstacle to them, or you could place them close to yourself so that you could get stronger. Now he, in his near vicinity, he could definitely mess Scoots up by putting it right here, because then she'd have to beat it. He could also try to cause Halfpint to stumble. However, Fries is going to place it right here because he would really like to make himself more awesome. Scoots is trying her hand at the teleporter. It can give her a jump away from Halfpint. She got a 2. That lets her go to a field of her choice. She's going to go right here. And there her movement ends. But next turn she's going to be able to use her increased ability to find secret passageways. To find the way, I hope, I pray, I believe, to the unicorn. Red Tomato in the labyrinth, trying to get away from Curly. Here we go. 4. That's going to put him right back here. And, you know, I think he likes that okay. He'd actually prefer to go this way, but Curly's in the way. So he'll go 1, 2, I guess, right like that. So here's where Weeder's in some sort of trouble. She's facing this Gorgon here. It's got a -2 to her lowest, her least experienced stat. So she can't use her super strong melee fighting. She has to use, well, she's going to choose her ranged attack, but she has to get a 3 or better. Just not very easy to get. I think she's going to get whatever the penalty is from the Medusa. It's probably not good. Yeah. And that's really not good. The Gorgon makes it so her movement is permanently reduced by 1. So her movement is normally 4, it's now 3. She really wants to get to Mooney now and take his Sandalin. Alright, we've gone through a round of turns. just give you an overview of what happened. She went over there, Half Pint went over there. Curly went down south. He decided not to pursue Red Tomato any longer. Red Tomato exited the labyrinth that way. He beat some wolves, and now he's heading towards this little town here. I don't know what he has planned. Fries, he successfully beat the golem. It was not an easy fight, but Fries has beaten it, I think, twice. This might be the second time Fries beat that golem. And Scoots, she got the recipe for the lyre, which is the special anti-dragon weapon. So that's the big stuff on the overworld front. If we go down below, Weeder, she fought something and lost, but the effect had no effect on her because she has no experience cubes. And Mooney finally got some. He beat Arachna. He has to bring Arachna to Tartaros before he is allowed to leave, though. If you have any of these kinds of quests, you have to fulfill them before you can leave the Underworld. Alright, our champions have each had their turns. We're actually in the middle of Curly's turn, but a couple of interesting things have just happened. So first, Half Pint, she was able to get one of these tiles. And I told you about these. They can place them anywhere they want. There's something under here that she wants Scoots to have to run into, and frankly, Scoots has no choice. She's going to have to do that in her turn. Curly called a market, which is an interesting move for someone who doesn't have money. That means he wants money, because if anyone buys anything from the market, he gets a coin. Oh, and look where he is very close to, the gateway to the Underworld. If he gets a coin, he can go down south, so to speak, to the Underworld and attempt to defeat Der Verdammt. You know, Der Verdammt is not on the board yet, but if he can make that happen and beat Der Verdammt, the game is over. So people are going to have to consider that when deciding whether or not to buy something. So who can actually buy something? On market we have two horses. They're equally good, but one is more expensive than the other. And then there's this spell. This looks like the lightning spell, kind of. It looks like a lightning bolt, but it's actually a strength spell. And this is from the Return of the Heroes game, not the Under the Shadow of the Dragon game, so the spell's a little different. Basically just means one time you can pretend like you have a blue stat of 9. So who can afford a horse? The only person is Fries. Our Noman Red Tomato only has 1 coin, so he can't afford anything. And Fries is the only person with money who's eligible for the market. The people in the Underworld are not eligible for market. Fries is considering it, and he really doesn't care if Curly goes to the Underworld or not. He wants a horse. He's tired of moving 2 spaces. So he's going to pick up a horse, give Curly a coin, put the other 2 coins away, and that's the way it worked out. Fries gets a little something he wants. Curly gets exactly what he wants, and we'll see what the repercussions are. And it's time to unwrap the gifts, so to speak, that Half Pint left for Scoots here in space 3 on the T tile. And it is none other than the wolves that Curly earlier defeated. Right back out of the bag again, ready for combat. You might think that it's, not going to be too tough for Scoots to take on the wolves. She doesn't even have to use her lightning spell to be able to use the full strength of her magic. However, if she wins, the only thing she gets is a red cube, which is not terribly useful to Scoots, and it does slow her down. So it was worthwhile in Half Pint's eyes. She has to get a 7 or better. Blop bop. She did that. The wolves, no surprise, are beaten, but Scoots lost a little bit of ground on that. Ooh, and the market is burning. The dragon just came and blew fire on the market. That's not actually going to affect this market tile. It just discards some of the available items from the game. That's not particularly helpful to Half Pint or harmful, really. It's just something that happens. So we'll take a couple from here. 3, 4, 5. And here is all that was lost from the dragon. As you can see, there are some doubles in the market and in the City of Mages. Those are the 2 markets that just got caught on fire. You can see that there's doubles. I don't know if there are triples of things. So this thing that boosts magic, this wand is out. This bow is also out, and that could help Half Pint if she were to get a hold of it. She's more of a ranged fighter. There's also another lightning spell in there. That could play an effect, but I doubt it. Weeder's turn. She's just done 2 things. She's linked up the two halves of the Underworld. which means next turn she has free reign to just charge right at Mooney if that's her desire. She also uncovered this Brunnen der Weisheit. What this lets her do is she gets to choose one of her abilities, and this is a way for her to use money. She can spend a coin, choose one of her abilities, and test that ability against the Brunnen der Weisheit. If the dice are higher than that ability, then the ability goes up. So she's going to roll 2 dice. She wants to get bigger than 6. And she did. So her melee is now higher. So I ruled that Aqualad could just ditch this guy and go back to the surface. The reason why is otherwise it's just kind of a crapshoot in the dark, and it's pretty much his whole life is just determined by luck whether or not he finds that tile, and that just felt a little bit too much. I know he's a loser, but he deserves a little bit of fairness. So he went up, he just fought this thief and won, which is great. Things are looking up now that he has found the sun once more. He's still very vulnerable. He loses these cubes, which means the -1s he planted go away. And where are the ones he planted? He planted this one, and he planted this one. Those go away. But he gets 3 coins from the thief, which makes him a wealthy man. He has a new pair of shoes, stepping large in the sunlight. Things are looking up for Mooney's Aqualad. Let's see what draws from the tile. I bet it's lucky. I bet it's something great for him. Let's see what it is. Alright, it's chestnut cookies! Quick overworld update. Curly is indeed trying to go to the Underworld. He is partway through this path here. He couldn't quite find his way through. Fries, on the other hand, he tried the teleporter, didn't get him anywhere. Scoots, it worked out though. She teleported clear over to the castle. That let her do a couple things. One, it let her get rid of one of her quests, gave her a green cube, not super useful, but she also got a coin out of the deal. And then she was able to get her recipe for the Nameless. So if she gets the Signet Ring, that's going to allow her to challenge the Nameless. She's the first person who has a recipe for each of the big bosses now. Let's see, our gnome in Red Tomato, he passed up trying to get the magic broom. He's still moving slowly and surely, a kind of roundabout way towards this frog here. He's trying to get the golden ball quest. He's really hampered right now. He doesn't have any sort of good resources. His ability is oftentimes not useful, and he's got short stubby legs. Really hard on him. Tice is collecting more quests in order to get money so that she can buy some candlesticks. Mooney has just called a market. Interesting set of choices here. So he has these boots. He can't really use these because he already has Sandalin. He has this sword, which his fightiness is not very good. And then he has this scroll, which could help his fightiness if he ever has to use it. Now here's what's interesting about it. The person who could afford and use the boots the best is Red Tomato here. Scoots could also make use of the boots. Now, I don't know if you're just watching this for the first time, if you haven't seen other Real People Multi-Game Solitaire Mega Tournament videos, there is a long history between Mooney and Red Tomato. They were friends during the Middle-earth quest. Sort of. I mean, they were heroes on the same side. There was a point when Red Tomato had a choice to make. He had a boat, and if he gave the boat to Mooney, it would be good for the team, or so he felt. The downside is Mooney would then get a special point. I made a special rule for Mooney because he was an Aqualad and he's in the Navy. That if he got a boat, he would get a bonus victory point. That ended up tying up the game between the two of them, so they had to have their duel of ages in order to see who would be the loser. Mooney ultimately lost that battle, so I don't think he holds it against Red Tomato. I think he would feel like it's, he gave him a shot by giving him the boat. The shot didn't pay off. And so I think he will offer to sell him these boots. And I think that Red Tomato will accept and thus deepen Mooney's pockets That's going to help Red Tomato a lot. Red Tomato is really struggling, and you know, I think pretty much anyone would sell it to him. It's kind of painful just to see him stumble along and not really get anywhere. It'd be frustrating to be him right now.
All right, and that's going to do it for today, or for now. I might play again a little bit later if I get another opportunity. Let's take a look at where people have gone. There's been some changes, and the situation has changed very different from how it was before. That whole situation with Curly, Curly failed to make good on that. He didn't end up damaging anybody. Did kind of steer people away from maybe the most direct path to where they were trying to go in terms of Tice and Red Tomato. I think Red Tomato probably would have liked to take the labyrinth down, but he got out of the labyrinth in order to get away with Curly, but really not super effective. Likewise, Half Pint was not able to catch up to Scoots. That teleporter made it very difficult. Yeah, we'll see where she goes with that. Half Pint's still in a good position. I don't think she really improved anything for herself, however, this turn. You know, Half Pint and Curly have to play more defensive in a way, but they also start out with, you know, they start out with a huge leg up on everyone else. These things, they don't show in play their advantage, but it is a big step towards victory. Fries, he's just getting stronger and stronger. He's probably, yeah, he could probably take anyone in a duel right now. Except maybe Weeder, if Weeder is in the underground. But again, Weeder's abilities are not transferable. Though she's starting to build up her muscle. She's used all her money though. She can't use that fountain anymore. Tice getting close. You know, if she can pick up the money to buy those candles, she's going to be in a good spot. Red Tomato, he's probably maybe doing the worst. I don't know. Red Tomato and Mooney actually are both kind of floundering a little bit. Mooney has made it to the overworld, but he's still sitting on one life, and he doesn't have a home. He doesn't have an easy way to bring that life back. He has to find some charitable institution that will help him out and slowly bring himself back to recovery before he can really feel comfortable turning over tiles and not worrying about instant defeat, because death for him is final. So that's really a big drawback. Though he has the money, you know, he does have some money, so maybe that can help him out. Who else? Is there anyone I didn't talk about? Oh, Scoots. Scoots probably did the most for herself this session. She got both recipes. So she has a dragon recipe, a nameless recipe. The next step in the dragon recipe isn't on the map yet. The nameless recipe it is. She has to go to a beehive and fight some bees. And with her lightning bolt spell, that shouldn't be too much trouble. However, you know, anytime she fights and uses it, she could lose it. So that's all for now. I hope to come back again later. Goodbye.